This is a HeadGum podcast.
Welcome to Girls on Porn. I'm Rachel.
I'm Laura.
And we love porn.
This is our porn review podcast.
We talk about what we love and we roast what we hate.
Helping you find hot, ethical, just plain better porn for your spank bank.
And we're looking at everything. Before we introduce the topic, we have a quivering little segment for you today. 69 seconds of sex news.
We've pulled headlines from the news to keep you informed and horny. Here we go.
A legal brothel in Wells, Nevada is offering a discount to residents from the, quote, most sexually repressed state. Madam Bella Cummins said Utah is the nation's most sexually repressed state and will offer customers with a Utah ID a 10% discount on all sensual services for the rest of 2023. Like a good neighbor, Nevada is there.
Bumble is now allowing users to report each other for ghosting on in-person dates. If a user is stood up, they can use an in-app report feature to complain. A moderator will then fact-check the claim before taking action against the offender. However, Bumble will not punish anyone who never confirmed an in-person meeting or stops contacting a match. Big Brother Bumble is here to help.
A recent study broke modern heterosexual male masculinity into 3 different types. Yay. Researchers defined the first masculinity type as neo-traditionalist. This refers to men who, quote, largely follow traditional gender roles, such as being the provider and protector in the relationship. The second type is egalitarian, where men seek a more equal partnership with emphasis on mutuality and measurable give and take. The final is progressive, wherein men work on building gender equity in the partnership through regular, purposeful conversations with their partner to adjust who does what. The most common masculinity type of the Gen Z and millennial interviewees was egalitarian. Listen, as long as there are respectful communication and agreement, your masculinity can be whatever type you want, honey.
A man took to Reddit to talk about his wife's dying wish. The wife has 9 months to live, and she sat him down to say that one of the last things she wants to do is have sex with a previous partner of hers. She went on to explain that her ex was the most physically compatible and satisfying lover that she'd ever had, and it would just be physical. The Redditor did not reveal whether he gave his wife his blessing to fuck her ex-lover. And that leads us to today's topic, breakup sex.
Breakup sex. Now, I do want to talk about this Reddit thing, because I remember this going around on the internet.
Okay, you're familiar.
I am familiar. I remember everyone talking about it being like, the internet was ablaze with everyone's opinions, comments on the matter.
Uh-huh.
And I think you got not, like, let her fuck him, you know? And I know I
feel that way too.
I mean, of course we do, right? But it's like,
it's just about the cheapest Make-A-Wish Foundation request
like,
that you could
you
ask
imagine
for.
What if she was like, I mean, and all things, she could have been like, I want to, go live in Italy alone for the next 9 months without you. Like, there are far worse things that she could, like, she just wants to fuck him once, whatever.
Just like, she just wants some of that sweet
and it's like, at least you're like, okay, well,
time.
Like, it's someone that we know, it's like someone in the history. It's not a stranger.
Was it definitively a one-time thing? Was that part of it? Like, I just want one time.
I mean, it could be worse. She could have been like, I want to leave you and go with him until I die. Like, imagine,
Yeah.
Like, she just wants to have sex with him one more time. Let her do it.
I totally get the difficulty,
of course,
from the perspective of the Redditor. Of being
of
like,
course. I don't want to,
such a sensitive time, and like, off you go. Like, that would be hard to process with the grief of losing your partner in general. It's like losing them on 2 fronts, essentially. Yeah. But yeah, if it's just like, I want to bang, it'll make me feel nice, like, before I go.
Yeah,
like,
I'd be like, okay, you're banging him tomorrow. We're not waiting.
Yeah.
Because I still want the rest of the
maybe this will cure the cancer. Let's get you that D.
Could you imagine? It's not like she's dying in the next 48 hours,
Yeah.
She's still got 9 months.
Yeah, I'd fly him out myself. I'd pay for that ticket, That's love.
Truly. Come on. And really I realize we are going to be in the minority here because we're sex positive, But come on.
Sex positive and non-monogamy people.
I know.
Okay, but should we define breakup sex? Because I feel like there's different ways you could look at this.
So many ways. What do you think breakup sex is? Because I know what I think it is.
I think of it first and foremost as the sex you have when you're breaking up and then you just fuck. Like one last time.
Yes.
Like one last hurrah
Yes.
is kind of how I think of it. Is like, it's worst person in the world.
Uh-huh.
It's the sex you have the night that you literally have the conversation that like, this is the end of the road, and you don't see that person anymore.
Right. It's like part of the stages of grief. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, and it's like immediate. Like, I don't think of, like, because, in researching for this topic, a lot of articles were like, breakup sex is like when you have sex with an ex. No, honey, that's called ex sex.
It's called ex sex.
Very
we do have a word
different.
for that. Because I was like, there is this other thing, which is like.
That's called digging through your trash.
Yes.
That's called going through your garbage. That's what
it's called like pulling out the dirty laundry and just throwing the outfit on because you didn't have time to do a load.
It's called emotionally sabotaging.
Sounds like emotional self-sabotage. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's weird. I don't consider that breakup sex. It's like having sex with someone that you've already broken up with. It's like in the immediate, and it's like, emotionally charged. It's like
it's part of the process of the breakup.
Yes, I'm telling you, it's like
and
one
it
of the
might
stages.
be that like it's a long relationship. There's more than one conversation about the breakup, but the breakup sex. So presumably, maybe people have breakup sex once or twice, and maybe sometimes the circumstances are like, will they, won't they, or like, are we really breaking up? Are we fighting for the relationship with this ex?
Right. There are
but
variables
in its purest form. Yeah, I really think of breakup sex as the like one last hurrah. Yeah.
It's like it could be like you were saying. It's like one last Hail Mary. It's like it's like the closing of the chapter.
Yeah.
Or it's like or it could be like a hateful like hate sex, like angry sex.
Yeah.
But I do think it is in the process of a breakup.
Yeah.
Not like we've broken up and now we're like rekindling something or we're getting back together.
Yeah. Although in researching this, no surprises that there's some confusion around like how people treat it or like how they
of course
view it. And I certainly think that sometimes breakup sex is not breakup sex because one person is like clinging to it or like hoping that it's more, or reading into it as like, oh, maybe actually there's a glimmer, like we're fighting for the relationship and like the way that we fuck each other in the breakup sex,
Yeah.
But one other person might be like, this is it, or this is for old time's sake.
Right.
As much as anything.
Are you talking about that article that was in Very Well Mind?
Maybe. I'm also talking about like a Psychology Today article that like qualifies it as goodbye sex too. That like this is our last chance to have sex together.
I just found like it interesting that a lot of these like different like tactics or primary like reasons for having breakup sex is like kind of gendered.
Yeah.
Like
that's what I was kind of about to get to is that like women tend to have sexual regret and feel badly about themselves following sex with an ex, where men are like tight,
like, I don't know, my balls are empty, I feel great.
Yeah, I think that does tend to be the way we're socialized, like a little bit of it.
And I mean, we've all had friends or done the thing where it's like like he wants to meet up and everyone's like, it's usually like the other person just kind of wants to have sex.
Yeah.
Like one of them just wants to have sex and it's like an easy, like comfortable.
Yeah, it's a layup. It's like, I know how to have sex with this person.
And then the other person, unfortunately, is like, there's something else here. Like, why did he text me? Like,
what's funny about it is for one person, it's like not emotionally risky because they're like, I know how to have sex with this person. We know what the situation is. We're not getting back together. But then just as easily, the other person in that same situation could be like, oh, is this like, you can't leave me alone. Like, could this be the thing?
I know.
Have you talked to me about your experience with breakup sex?
Okay.
Have you had some in your day?
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess the most like in its truest form, in its purest form, as we previously defined it, my high school boyfriend, just like decided to break up with me out of the blue, like while I was in his apartment, like before I went to college, like the summer before my freshman year. And because I'm a manipulative whore, I decided to then like have sex with him like as many times. Like I was like, we need to keep fucking. Like we need to keep having sex. Like the more he comes, the more he'll realize that like he can't dump me.
Yeah.
And I had sex with him like an insane. Like I was like raw. I couldn't like sit down during like freshman orientation. And you know what? It worked. A few weeks later. Actually, no, the kicker was a few weeks later, I got drunk at like a frat party and I met someone who like knew him from high school and I like texted him being like, I just met someone who knows you. And then, of course, like the next day he was like, we're getting back together. And I was like,
wait, so like you fucked him a bunch and then found a reason to like reconnect otherwise?
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
the plan essentially worked, but then the
Yeah,
relationship dragged out in a different way otherwise.
I mean, the breakup sex, I probably didn't need to have that much sex with him, you know,
yeah,
in order to like get him to get back together with me like a few days later when I was at a frat party. But, you know, I think it helped,
I see.
you know. And then,
but is that even breakup sex?
I don't know.
Like that to me is
I don't
get
know.
back together sex. It's you said it, manipulative sex. Yeah, it's like lure them back sex, you know.
Well, when I was getting back together with beep,
yeah.
And we met up in Soho House, we had like, I guess what some people would consider breakup sex, but then we ended up getting back together.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's breakup sex or makeup sex, but it was very like emotional. We cried, you know.
Yeah.
Very intense.
That doesn't feel like breakup sex to me because so much time had passed.
Yeah, okay.
Right? And
Fair.
that like it was undefined in terms of like what you were actually doing, but it like obviously was more makeup sex than anything.
Right.
It might have been closure sex. It might have been months later. I guess it's always going to be hindsight, you know, like
I know.
But I also know for you going in, it wasn't breakup sex. It was a like, maybe there's
No,
still...
I was like, this pussy's going to get him back.
It was like,
and it did.
Get him back. Yes. And it did. It sure did.
It sure
It
did.
really did.
Yeah. And it got me a 3-night stay at Soho House.
Yeah. And what you're teaching us is that like, that pussy don't quit.
It does.
Like people do. It gets repeat business. So congrats to you, honestly.
Thank you. What about you? Have you ever had like breakup sex?
I was thinking about this ahead of this episode and like,
Yeah.
I think you might be surprised to know that like not a lot of it.
Yeah.
I've had some. I did my last sort of dating scenario. I won't call it like a whole relationship because it didn't quite get there. But like last person I dated before my current partner was like, we definitely had breakup sex. We definitely had like, we're going to take a break here and have like one last hurrah. And that was before sort of opening things up. Like it didn't end up being breakup sex because we sort of took a break and then ended up seeing each other again. And then we're really done.
Yeah.
But it was, to our knowledge, breakup sex and even had a like, are we sure this is okay? Like check-in moment before we did. Prior to that though, I kind of prided myself on being like, nah, bye. Like
done. Yeah.
Yeah. And like not necessarily like night of, but there were a couple night of situations. Like there was one where like, it was like a mutual rebound relationship, you know, where like both of us were getting out of painful things and kind of casually dated each other for a while. And then he was the one to be like, I don't think I see this going further.
Yeah.
And I was like, and he kind of wanted to fuck after that conversation. And I was like, nah, man, because I don't want to like be that to you. I don't want to just like be available for sex if you're like not prepared for more emotional intimacy, and kind of prided myself on that.
Totally.
And a couple of times in like smaller situations where it was like sort of hooking up, but it wasn't going to go further. But like maybe we fuck one more time, maybe we fuck one or two more. Like people kind of trying to just lure you back in when they've already identified they don't have the bandwidth to keep seeing you.
Right.
I kind of enjoy being like, well, then you're not getting that. You know what I mean? Like,
I think you have a lot more willpower than I.
I do have for being such a slut. I have incredibly strong sexual willpower.
Yeah, good for you.
But I think that's because I'm sort of cognizant of like the power that it wields, and I sort of enjoy being like, you don't just get this. You know, like I enjoy the like, what would Ramade do of it all?
Right.
Like,
yeah. I mean, it's funny that you mentioned The Worst Person in the World, because that is such an iconic moment in that movie. And that when I was going through my breakup in like high school, it felt very similar to that, where it was like a lot of like silence, crying. Okay, that's fine. You know what I mean? Like, I want to fuck you. You know, like, I love you.
And sort of just this like grabby, messy, like, oof,
and
thing,
it is, you know, part of the stages of like grief. Horniness. It's like the 9th stage of grief.
Horniness is the 4th and a half step.
We all know it. There was also a moment, I mean, this is, I guess, not immediate, but did you ever watch the show Dr. Foster?
I didn't.
Oh, I'm so surprised by that, because it's like a really good British drama.
Oh, it's the British show. Oh, wait, I have watched a bit of this. Yeah, I didn't watch it completion. I think I watched maybe like the first season of that.
But there's a really good sex scene where they're like, it's like hateful breakup sex, you know?
Yeah.
He's cheated on her. Oops, spoiler. You know, and then they have like really hateful sex. And I was like, right. Because if we talk about, every single time we talk about sex on the show or like a good scene, it's relationship and like dynamic and tension.
Yeah, it's tension. It's like if it's not taboo.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's not just the taboo of the act itself or
Right.
like of a kink or fetish.
Right.
Then like, yeah, it has to be the dynamics of like, why are these people fucking?
Right.
And I was just going to say like that kind of scenario in Dr. Foster is like what I would hope for in my breakup sex porn.
Right.
Is like, how fraught can this be? Like how complicated it can be. And like what I think can be hot is like how much are the two people sort of fighting to be like, we're the best at sex. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, it's a competition.
Like that sounds like an element of what you were doing in your scenarios
100%.
is like, get this fucking pussy nowhere but here, you know? Like leaving them with that kind of like taste in their mouth, so
and
to
there's
speak.
the element that is so the taboo factor of it too, like that is so appealing in things like stepbrother porn or whatever, of like, we shouldn't be doing this. We know this is wrong. Yeah,
it's not societal taboo in this case. It's just like
emotional.
The taboo, the emotional taboo of the relationship, and also the emotional risk is what like adds that element. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's definitely like got really hot potential for being such a simple and essentially like vanilla concept.
Right.
Just in that like I think literally anyone has experienced or can relate to like some element of breakup sex or the promise of it.
Right.
It's hot, it's got that tension in there.
I mean, when we think about like my favorite scenes in Unfaithful, when like she tries to break up with them and they, know.
Yes, that's funny. We're telepathic because that just flashed into my mind. I was like, is Unfaithful breakup sex? Because I was like, is it breakup sex? Because it's about infidelity, but I was like, oh no, but she's trying to end it with him. And that's what's so hot. Yeah. That's a great scene.
Yeah, it's a great scene. Really good scene. Really good scene. I have some fun. I don't know. Some stats about like
give me some
breakups.
stats. I have some fun stats.
This is from
fun breakup stats.
To make you feel better. So 70% of straight couples break up in the first year of their relationship.
Okay.
It's like, why even bother? The odds are against you. Truly.
I mean, that's one way to look at it, but that's also like maybe a wonderful year with someone where you like learn a lot of things.
No, I know.
And you also learn like a year is also like a long time because I feel like 70% of like 1 month relationships with straight couples.
I feel like the 3 month marker.
Yes, that's the threshold.
Like, then it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
You see someone for 3 months and it's like, okay, it's been 90 days.
Yeah, absolutely.
If we were on 90 Day Fiancé, we'd be getting engaged.
Yeah, but I also think 1 year is a good length of time to know if you just don't have longer term potential. Like problems will have emerged by then. Like you will have seen difficulties in your dynamic and have a sense for like whether you're going to navigate them or you're going to abandon ship,
Once they reach the 5-year milestone, breakup rate drops to 20%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting, right? The most popular day for breakups to happen is Monday.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Fuck
funny.
a Monday, man. Also,
but like it's like real poor Monday,
Yeah.
They're like, really? You're gonna put this on us too?
Yeah.
We're gonna be the day that most breakups happen? Everyone always hates me.
Why do we think most breakups happen on Mondays?
Fresh start to the week.
Fresh start to the week. I mean, that's kind of...
By Friday, they'll be over it.
That's almost like half of what came to mind, though, is I'm like, I got to get back to work. We got to handle this. Like, we got to have the conversation. It's almost like it's coming to a head. Let's just fucking get it done so that, like, I can get into my week,
right.
I
got to prioritize.
But that's funny because I don't think I've ever broken up on a Monday. I think my breakups are always, like, on a sad fucking Saturday.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, like, my breakups always seem to last, like, 48 hours, I'm like, I don't even know what day it is.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of times they're kind of like...
Before I know it, I'm in a mental institution,
Listen, a good breakup is a multi-day mess.
With me, with my psycho ass, yes.
Yeah.
Same-sex unmarried couples had lower breakup rates than straight unmarried couples.
Ah, interesting.
The queers win again.
Yes.
They win again.
Okay. When you know you got something and you're queer.
Yeah.
And
then also 27% of young adults report having sex with an ex within a 2-year period.
That stat really hits exactly where I would expect it to.
Yes,
like a third of people are like hooking up with some ex.
Yeah.
From the last couple of years.
I don't actually know if I don't know if I've ever hooked up with an ex and then didn't get back together.
Okay, brag.
Well, I mean, I hooked up with someone who would like refuse to date me
Yeah.
for like 8 years.
There she goes. Brought her down to her own.
Damn.
You knocked yourself off your own pedestal.
I really did. Ugh, yeah.
But that's just that person.
But that no
you know?
more, you know.
Yeah.
We've moved on. It only took 8 years.
This stat doesn't necessarily have anything to do with breakup sex
Okay.
any more than anything, but I just was kind of fascinated by it.
Uh-huh.
20% of weddings are called off.
Oh.
That's pretty intense,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, yeah.
That's a higher stat than I would have thought for just generally being like, we're getting married, announcing it, and then being like,
Yeah.
never mind, like 1/5.
I would think it would, yeah, that is high. Like, I would think because, like, the pressure, everyone's
Like,
always
I think it speaks to like how much societal pressure there's to get married, how many people are trying to like force marriages and being like, finally, marriage. And it's like, it's
Yeah.
not what you actually, it's not a good idea.
My friend recently just had, like, had a nightmare where it was, like, she was getting married and her mom was, like, she was trying to call it off and her mom was like, you know, honey, a lot of people paid a lot of money to be here. So you're going through with it.
Oh my God.
Could you imagine?
So she was calling it off like on the day?
No, it was a nightmare she had.
Oh, it was a nightmare. I thought this was an
it was a nightmare she
actual
had.
thing.
No. This is my friend who's also perpetually single. And she's like, could you imagine? I just had this nightmare. Like,
Oh, that's really funny. A perpetually single
know.
person having a nightmare about some anxiety that's so far outside the realm of what they're, you know what I mean? That's really
being
funny.
forced to go through the marriage.
Yeah, but maybe is that why that person is single? Maybe that she's like has so much marriage anxiety that she's having
No.
anxiety dreams when she's not even engaged.
I don't know why this person is single. She's perfect.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah.
Just a funny random dream. That's funny.
Yeah. I have some top reasons why people break up. Do you want to hear them? I mean,
Yes.
I bet you could guess.
Yeah. Could you also? Is this from Forbes?
It
This
is.
hysterical because
Yeah.
like, what is Forbes? Like a finance fucking magazine?
Yeah, why are they doing the survey?
Why not?
Okay, grew apart. I mean, yeah, that
the
would
most
be
undefined,
Yeah.
like
arguments.
like that one feels like an umbrella for like several other things underneath it.
They just list arguments as the
Yeah.
second reason.
Yep, we fight.
Well, yeah.
Great.
Unfaithfulness.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh-huh. Lack of respect.
That one's tough.
That's tough.
That's a hard one to define.
I'm like, why'd you date them?
yeah, but that
They
is
don't
like
respect you.
that is something that like John Gottman, like the Gottmans will identify as like a major red flag in relationships and marriages. If there isn't an inherent level of like deep respect,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of hope like getting through conflicts.
Right.
And I think it's more of an archaic challenge. Like I think it's more when they were like initially doing studies where people really were like getting married out of obligation and like didn't respect their
Yeah.
partners.
Yeah.
But these days, like, yeah, Jesus.
I
you know?
feel like maybe like this is all like things that I'm like, oh, maybe this is like relevant to people who are dating like a few decades ago, you know? Like now we're
yeah.
like, you know, we have all these TikToks that are like, here are common red flags. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like
Lack of respect,
Yeah.
like would it be one?
No, that person's not getting a third date. Different interests. That person,
Okay.
you know, today, if you have different interests, you're not even matching with them on Hinge.
That's fair.
Moved. Well, sure.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
Long distance challenges is something for sure.
Money problems is the reason why people
Okay.
break up.
Mm-hmm.
Not sharing housework. I'm like, okay, this is like a reason to kick your roommate out. But
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
It's also very Forbes, you know,
Yes.
like again, I'm like, you're gonna share the housework, you know, like
Right.
it's a given. But
Yeah, I mean,
this is assuming potentially more traditionally dynamic sort of relationships than I would
I'm like,
be
this
in.
is that's a top reason why people break up. Like, someone tell my parents because my dad hasn't done housework in 30 years.
Well, there you go.
Difficulties with sex.
Thought this would be higher.
Thought it would be
Yeah.
higher,
Are these
too.
actually ranked, or are these are just reasons? They're not
I
necessarily
think they're
ranked
just
in
reasons.
order.
I don't think they're in any sort of particular order.
Okay. Yeah, difficulties with sex is probably a pretty common one.
Yeah, I know. I mean, and like now it's like, well, let's work on it together.
Yeah.
You
Why do
know,
you think I'm
let's
getting
talk
certified
about
as
it.
a sex coach?
Exactly. You know, big one, domestic violence. That is a reason.
Classic.
That's a
You know,
reason.
just a classic reason
That is a reason.
why a relationship should absolutely end.
Yes,
And
please.
yeah.
Don't do that. That's
yeah.
bad. Not having children.
Yeah, interesting one. Another sort of old school sort
Yeah.
of, you know.
But I mean, again,
Yeah.
like nowadays, I feel like I'm having that conversation on like date one. I'm like, you want kids?
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
34.
I think
I'm not
probably what it
wasting time.
implies is like you were planning to have children and you faced challenges
difficulties.
conceiving and like
Sure.
and the stress of that even like fractured the relationship. Like, I think that's a lot of times what was happening there. But
supposedly Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston, that's what happened there.
Oh, well, there you go.
The rumor. That's the rumor
classic American tragedy. Yeah.
And I like that all of these, the last one, all of these things are grouped together.
Yeah.
Drinking, drugs, gambling.
What they mean is like very problematic addiction in multiple forms.
Yeah, but they just lumped them all together.
Yeah. Oh boy.
But I do appreciate that they didn't put / like sex addict, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I guess that would fall under the like infidelity category or like difficulties with sex. Yeah, there's two different categories you could theoretically put it in. But yeah.
Right. Should we do the showdown?
Yeah, let's do the showdown.
Okay, I'm going to start.
Okay.
Breakup / makeup sex is the best. And then it's got the little 3 squirt emoji. Straightforward, to the point.
Sweet, short and sweet.
Yeah, and I can sort of, I can agree. I would agree.
Okay. I
like makeup sex, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that could be a separate episode, technically.
I mean, it sure could. You know what else could? Sorry, keep going.
What else could?
Well, I was going to mention this, but I'll talk about it later, but crying.
Crying sex.
Crying while fucking.
Yeah.
I'm into that.
Mm-hmm. We need to flag that for later. That's its own, because that's a whole world. That's a whole universe.
It is. I'm into it. It's like,
yeah,
something about it. I don't know. I'm sick.
I love it. Okay. As though pulled together by a magnet. Starting poetic.
Wow. Okay, that's the opening line. Or that's like the opening line to like the back cover, like book description.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Or it's like how someone describes their breakup sex the next day when they're like not over it. You know?
They're like, no, I know I shouldn't have seen him, but it's like as though we were pulled together by a magnet. You know?
Yeah.
And we're all like, really?
Yeah.
Stop calling him. Okay. X comes back for cock after breakup.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah. I like that. I like that because it's like, oh, she's just coming back for a cock. You know?
She's just coming back for cock after the breakup.
She's not coming back because she like, you know, wants you back, you know, and is like doing this as a way
she's
to
just
like
stopping by
to
get some cock and then she's on her way.
You know, and I'm like, good for her.
Respect.
Yeah.
This one is adjacent, so I'll do this one next. Fucks in the ass after a long breakup.
Oh.
Impressive. Yeah. You know, you've had a rough, messy 48 hours, and then you're going to like really seal the deal. Keep that mess going.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Keep it going.
Exactly.
Why stop?
Yeah.
You know?
Why stop?
Messy with our emotions and messy with our sheets.
There you go.
Last blowjob before breaking up with him.
Now that's a different kind of breakup sex we didn't talk about. The pre-breakup, like the let's warm them up before we have the conversation.
I am going to give him head, but I will be dumping
just to soften the blow. Yeah.
Could you like, yeah.
Let me just get you a tissue and then we should talk. Yeah? Okay.
Babe, we do need to talk. Yeah.
Okay, next one from me.
Mm-hmm.
This one's confusing. Breakup sex with friend.
Oh.
So is it breakup sex? What kind of
friend? Maybe you're breaking up with your friend.
Yeah. It's a friend breakup, but you're also going to fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it that you're friends?
That's got mainstream lesbianism smeared all over it.
What's funny is it looks like a straight couple at a cafe from the thumbnail.
Oh.
Like it looks like a straight couple like having a shitty basket of fries.
Well, here's the thing. That's also a thing is like sometimes people consider rebound sex breakup sex. And we'll talk about this in the videos. But like,
yes, we need to talk about with respect to the video because I was like, yeah, is this breakup sex?
That's not breakup sex.
Put a pin in it. Important to discuss.
Right. Last one for me. He's breaking up with me? Question mark, question mark, question mark?
Ah, that's another classic.
Can you believe it?
The bait and switch. The like, I was going to break up with you, but you're breaking up with me.
Well, or it could be, he's breaking up with me?
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm.
He's breaking up with me? Incredulous.
She's got range, you see.
He's breaking up with me? Disbelief. You know, there are 2 ways to read this.
There's infinite ways to read this in the Rachel Napoleon School of Acting, for sure. Okay. Last one from me. Busty babe makes a blowjob video to break up with boyfriend.
Oh.
What do we think is happening there? Is it that she's like, I'm breaking up with you by sucking this other person's dick?
Yeah, like she's like, hey babe, I know. Oh, I said that we were going to talk, but instead, I'm just going to make you this video. I'm just going to make you this.
I just wanted to do it this way because I honestly never want to hear from you again, and I really want to burn this bridge.
Yeah.
I really want to ruin your life and just exit. Just make a harsh exit.
Yeah.
Stage left.
Oh God.
Oh, let's take a break.
Okay.
So the first video we want to discuss today is called "Bed and Breakups," and challenges the definition of
very
breakup sex
that we
picked a video that doesn't really achieve the topic, but whatever.
But it's actually kind of crazy. Like I couldn't find a lot of videos.
You'd think there would be more.
You would think it'd be a very common trope, but like weirdly, there's not a lot. There's a lot of like having to do with a breakup. It's like my boyfriend broke up with me, and then a stranger broke in. You know what I mean? Or
like revenge sex under other dire circumstances.
Or it's like a lot of like my boyfriend broke up with me, and now I'm fucking his friend.
Yes,
my boyfriend broke up with me, and now I'm fucking his mom. You know what I mean? Like it's like a million other.
Yeah, like it's like more heightened revenge sex than just the breakup sex.
Yeah,
but like bless an adult time, you can find a couple.
Just like a really good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe it's like the emotionality of it. Like maybe it's that
it
like
requires a lot. It requires a lot of heavy lifting with like dialogue, acting, a lot of believability.
I mean, I feel like it's an easy, quick setup. And the one that we'll talk about after this one, the setup is super fast and then it's just a straight up porn.
Right.
But I think it's maybe audience related, that it's like not high stakes or edgy enough to capture a lot of the like common mainstream viewer.
Right.
And I imagine like a lot of women maybe wouldn't be turning to breakup sex porn for the emotional stimulus because of the emotional stakes of it. Like true. You're not gonna like watch breakup sex porn when you're getting over someone.
Right, that's true. Yeah.
So maybe that's why it's not as common.
Or
as
it's like the idea of it, like it also lends itself so well to like TV and film,
Yes.
That aren't like as like hard. There's not like a hardcore
sex
scene,
so story forward
that
it's almost less common in the porn space. So this one's called Bed and Breakups.
Yes.
We've got two gals.
Two gals.
Jane Wilde and Chanel Cameron.
This is from Girls Way. Yeah.
And the scenario here is that they're more just like relating to their
breakups,
mutual breakups. Like one of them is fresh out of a situation.
Yeah. So Chanel goes to this bed and breakfast.
Yes. Right.
And Jane's like,
important
welcome.
Detail.
Yeah. And she's like, it's very clearly like a house. Like it's like a mansion and they just like are pretending it's a bed and breakfast.
Yeah.
And she's like, I was supposed to come. She's like, oh, it's like a room for two, Is your other guest joining you? And she's like, oh, no, actually. My partner just broke up with me, and I decided I still wanted to get away. And then Jane, who owns the bed and breakfast, plot twist, was like, I had something very similar to happen to me. And I'm like, not really at all, but you guys both just had a breakup. And she was like, and then I opened up this bed and breakfast, and I will say I have
it all ties together,
Yeah, I have a nice, quiet lifestyle, and time really heals all wounds.
Yeah, I love when she was like, maybe this is stepping too far. Like, maybe this is saying too much, but time does really heal all wounds. Because when she said, like, maybe this is going too far, and I was like, what is she going to fucking say?
Yeah,
like,
I was like, babe,
listen, maybe this is going too far, but I did Google you before you checked in, and your girlfriend's a cunt. Yeah. Like,
right? Like,
going too far, saying, like, time heals all wounds isn't.
That's not going too far. That's on like a, it's like painted
it's just
on
a very classic trope.
Yeah, it's like on a magnet on someone's fridge,
Yes. That's a mug she has at her bed and breakfast that she puts. Hope this isn't going too far, but I got this mug for you. I think it's fitting.
So then we do like this quick little montage of like what I'm assuming is like the next few days, and the girlies start to get really close.
Yeah.
They like go on trips together. They're like going on like a tour, and they like
little day trips.
Yeah, they do like little fun getaway things. And I'm like, okay, does this girl not have to work? Like, what's going on?
They're doing sort of the ramp up, like gay girl 48-hour date, right?
At one point, like Chanel is like asleep, and Jane just like puts a tray like around her with like food, and I'm like, she's sleeping. Like, wait for her.
She's absolutely going to knock the orange juice over. Yes,
like
100%.
Like if I woke up to that, I'd be like,
Yeah,
like, I'm
you
moving.
You can put it next to her, and it can still be a pleasant surprise. You don't have to accost her with hot coffee on her face in the morning. Yes,
like
she hasn't run this bed and breakfast long. She hasn't learned these kinds of like basic service things.
And then, of course, we get back to them like coming back from outside. They got like the storm came out of nowhere and they were soaking wet and they have to get their wet clothes off.
It's very lesbian romance novel. Like it's very sweet.
I know, but I was like,
it's like the Lifetime version of a gay girl porn, you know?
Yeah, like I would have loved a little bit more of like, oh, sorry, or like maybe like she accidentally walks in on her while she's changing, but instead they're just in the entryway and she's like, oh, what about your panties? Are those wet too? And she's like, yeah, we got to take those off. Like I was like, oh,
yeah.
You know, can we have like just a little bit
more? You
more?
should have directed this porn. Yeah.
I know, I should have.
Yeah, my gripe with this porn is it's just a little too sweet. It's a little bit, it's in the very middle place between being for women and for the male gaze.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I don't really totally buy that they're super hot for each other. It feels like it's leaning towards the male gaze and that they feel like straight presenting, straight passing, or like male gazy porn stars where like you're like, these might as well just be straight chicks fucking, with the like delicacy of it and the like softness and the like, oh, I couldn't possibly of it, you know?
Yeah, totally.
But then it does get better and the sex gets a little bit better.
Right.
But it also has this like emotional lead up that feels very like it's pandering to a very specific female audience. So it's kind of like almost ticking but not ticking the boxes for me.
Right.
I did get into some of the sex, to be honest. Like some of it got fucking hot.
I did get into some of the sex too. There was some good. There was like there was a lot of good
great
tribbing.
clit stimulation.
Yeah, great clit stimulation, great tribbing.
Yeah, and it had enthusiasm beyond.
And I was like, oh, Jane. I was like, okay, she knows how to eat a pussy. You know.
Yeah.
But I was like very, I don't know. I'm always get very like concerned about people's nails.
Yeah.
You know, and so I was like very concerned about the nails on both vulvas.
Yeah, that's part of what I think like made it lean towards the like male gazy, like straight gay porn.
Anytime like two people are sitting next to each other and like rubbing for like camera.
Yes, there was a lot of angling for camera. Even like the early head, I was like, we must have two cameras because we're here between our legs, and she was like angling this way, even though camera was like here. I was like, oh, I bet they're shooting from here too. And she's trying to keep it open because she like moved her hair at one point, and I was like, no, just get your face in there.
Yeah, bury your face.
Just get your face in there. Yeah, so mixed feelings about this one. It definitely turned me on, but I was like mad at a couple elements of it that were like enough to be like, I can find a better queer porn, you know?
For sure. I did, there was like an orgasm that I felt like I believed.
Yes.
But that was really it.
Yeah.
You know?
I think we're thinking of the same moment where I was like, there was some great like clit stimulation.
Yeah.
There was some like
the
really
end.
rigorous.
Yes,
exactly.
And she's like shaking. I was like, oh, okay, that looks real.
Yeah.
But yeah, it didn't really like turn me on as much as I wanted to. You know?
Yeah, I was hoping for more.
Yeah.
They were beautiful girls,
gorgeous
great
girls,
performers.
But I wanted it to be like a little bit messier.
I almost always want this kind of, exactly. I want it to be like messier, more rigorous, like a little bit more chaotic and intense.
Yeah, more heated,
and less pretty.
Yes, agreed.
Less pretty and tentative, you know?
Agreed.
On the other hand,
Dane Jones' orgasm for cute blonde in romantic breakup sex with big cock BF. This is featuring Christoph Kale and Nesty. And Christoph Kale is like, we talked about him in like our sex doll episode, I think, because he's like a big porn star in like the European space. I don't know where he's from, but he's...
Yeah, they both have accents that I couldn't quite locate.
Yeah, so they both have accents, but they're weirdly both speaking in English to each other.
Because why not?
So they're not from the same country, but like Nesty's like on the phone being like, yeah, I mean, he's still here. I should be, you know, free in the next like 30 minutes or so. And then she's like, I can't really talk. And there's like some sort of like sad, like soap opera-y music.
Yeah.
And like poor sweet Christoph is like, you know, carrying his boxes. And he's like, you know, you can sell the last few things. Like, I don't need it. Was that your new boyfriend? And she's like, yeah. He's like, does he make you happy? And she's like, you know. Yeah, he makes me happy. He's like, good, I care about you. That's important. And then she's like, wait, maybe we can meet sometimes. And he's like friends? And he's like, are we doing what I think? And then put the box down and they start hooking up, you know?
Yeah.
Very little plot.
Yeah.
Straight to the point.
Really gets to it.
Yeah.
I was expecting this to be more chaotic than it was.
Yeah.
And it was actually just kind of like, you just kind of got to the point and demonstrated how easy it can be to be like, here's a scenario that could be hot. Let's get to it, you know?
Right. I would have loved like a little bit more like dirty talk, you know? Like I feel like
that's a good
in
call.
these scenarios, it could be like I have the idea for the perfect breakup sex porn, and I should just write it.
You're giving great notes
I
on
know.
both videos. I'm like, Rachel needs to make a breakup sex
like
porn.
it should be like, does your new boyfriend like fuck you like this? You know, like
it needs to be dirty. It needs to be like
are you gonna
like,
miss
that's
the
my
way
fucking
I feel?
pussy, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like there's like there almost needs to be like those dynamics of like possession.
Yeah,
and,
it's like no one's gonna do it like how I do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I could keep going.
Yeah, or like, oh fuck, I'm gonna miss this.
Yes,
even,
exactly.
You know, like
things like that.
That's a really great call.
Yeah,
a
but
really
it was
great
the sex was great. I mean, I felt like it was like messy and sloppy in a way that I was like, oh, this is what I like from like breakup sex.
Yeah.
And you know, his dick is massive, so good job to him.
Yeah, it starts with like a great quick little setup and then just gets to pretty porny sex.
Yeah, pretty like porny.
In fact, we had like squirting in there, which I wasn't expecting.
And I mean, she was like, you know, enjoying herself in a believable way. You know,
it did feel like led by her more than I expected to. Just in the way that he was like, I don't know, are you sure? And she was like, we're gonna fuck. You know, like I was like, I like that. Like I appreciated that.
Yeah.
But then the sex was just like hot people fucking in a pretty standard way for the most part, but was like hot. Like I actually would watch this. Like I would come back to this.
Yeah, I was turned on by it.
Yeah, well there you go.
I was definitely turned on by it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess kind of both of these are in my spank bank in a like in a lower tier way. Like neither is like, holy shit, this is going to the top of the list. But if I was like on the aggregates and stumbled across one of these, I'd be like, oh, you know, an amuse-bouche. Let's get it started. I'll dip in on this. Like there was definitely some hot sex in the like Dane Jones one, and there was definitely some hot sex in the Bed and Breakups. Both of them I would just like dip in for a section. You know?
Sure.
Like a particularly intense section.
I have in my head the perfect breakup sex porn, and like when someone finally like it offers me the role of a lifetime of being a director and writer.
As director of a future AVN winning fucking
then like I will be able to give it to the masses.
I genuinely want to see that porn.
Yeah, it would be hot.
I think you should script that because you could.
I could pitch it to someone. I think
you could pitch it. We easily have access to like pitch it to any of these platforms we talk about. Like, hey, unorthodox request,
right?
But we have an idea for a porn.
Can you let me?
What do you think? You know,
can you let me? Yeah.
Ex confessions. I feel like why not?
Yeah, sure. Good point.
Little trip to Europe. Let's go.
Oh, who wouldn't like that?
I just invited myself, by the way. I'm like, I will also be directing.
Well, she's
Rachel's
that's my
porn.
assistant. Yeah,
I will happily.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, I was going to co-write it with you. I was going to see your ideas. I mean,
it's my assistant
contribute
director.
Some of my own.
Yeah,
but
it's a joint effort. Yeah. Okay, cool.
I think we'd make a great team is all I'm saying.
That's agree. Hard agree.
I think we'd make a great team to make great porn. We've been talking about it for years.
Well, hey, thank you so much for listening to Girls on Porn. You can find us on our Instagram and TikTok at Girls on Porn. That's porn without the O. On our youtube.com/@girlsonporn, porn without the O. On our website at girlsonporn.com, and also on our patreon.com/girlsonporn.
Please don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and if you want to give us a hot little 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, can you do this on Spotify? Feel free to include your Instagram handle so that we can tag it and thank you.
This has been Girls on Porn, the only GOP that's actually any good.
That was a HeadGum podcast.